My eyelashes are popping off because I put them on super shitty this morning. Look at them. Right here and right here. They're popping off, but whatever. Whatever. Handy mandy. Okay, so yeah, this is what happened with me and Nick when we broke up a year ago and where we stand. I'm just gonna tell y'all what happened. I ain't gonna cut nothing out. I'm gonna be real as can be, and we're just gonna let it all out on the table. So everybody's been asking why me and Nick broke up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and explain what happened when we broke up. So Nick had a trust fund for a bunch of money. Like about $50,000 worth of money. He got the money, and when he got the money, he was 20 years old and I was 18. So we both kind of just like went crazy. Like, we had all of this money in our hands, like literally cash. Like, Nick didn't go and put the money into like a bank account. He literally went to the bank and got it in cash. $100 bills, like $40,000 cash. Okay, any teenagers are like not gonna know how to react with all of this money. So we kind of went nuts. We had our own apartment. We bought laptops, we bought PlayStations, TVs, video games, toys for Brazen. We bought like furniture for our apartment, decorations, video games, clothes, phones. Like, we went nuts. We bought all kind of shit. Well, one night Nick's friends came over and they talked him into buying a bunch of drugs, just like weed and stuff like that. So they started to do drugs together, and I didn't like it because I don't do drugs. I don't like to be around it. I don't want my kid around it. I don't want to be in that situation. So I was just kind of annoyed and distant towards him for a while, and then I just kind of started feeling like we shouldn't be together, and we just needed to take a break, pretty much. Like, that's what I felt like. But at the same time, we lived together, so we kind of like stayed together, but we just like stayed in separate rooms for a while just to like take a break. Well, one night we went out with our friends, and it was me, Nick, my gay friend, and this guy. I'm just gonna say his name because everybody knows his name, so why not? Derek was his name. We all went out to go drinking one night and stuff like that, and on our way to the next bar that we were going to, Nick stopped and got an OWI because he was drinking and driving. So he ended up getting arrested, and pretty much it was me, my gay friend, and Derek in the car. So I went and brought my gay friend home to his house, and me and Derek were stuck in the car together. And me and Derek dated like 3 years ago before I met Nick, but it was nothing serious. I was 15 years old. Like, pretty much I would just sneak out and go hang out with him. Like, that was dating for us. So me and him were stuck in the car together, and we went to the jail to go figure out like how we would get Nick out, what we had to do, blah blah blah, because me and Nick had like all this money, this $40,000. Like, I had the money to bond him out, but I've never done that before. Like, I had no idea what the process was, what I had to do, who I had to talk to, where to go, blah blah blah. Like, I just had no clue. So we went to the jail to go find out what we had to do, and they said that he wouldn't be able to bond out until the morning time. So I was just kind of like, well, what am I gonna do now? It was like 11 o'clock at night, like I didn't want to go home alone, blah blah blah. So me and Derek went and drove around for a little while, and we just kind of talked and listened to music. Actually, I lied, we didn't even talk, we just drove around and listened to music. Like, we didn't talk. And then originally the plan was I was gonna bring Derek home, and then I was just like, I'm not gonna go to sleep, I'm gonna stay up because I want to wait to go bond Nick out of jail, blah 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 blah. And I was like, do you want to hang out with me or whatever until morning time? And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we went home back to my house, and me and Derek laid in bed and talked all night. We didn't do anything sexual, like we didn't kiss or touch or cuddle or anything like that. We just talked all night until like 7 o'clock the next morning. And then my mom came knocking on the door. She didn't call or anything, she just knocked on the door and showed up. And apparently she saw that Nick was arrested because like she saw online or something, and she came over to like, I don't know, get some stuff for Brazen or something like that. So, she didn't know that there was a different dude in the room, but there was a different dude in the room, and she grabbed some stuff for Brazen, and she left. She never seen him, whatever, because it's clear. Well, I went and bonded Nick out of jail, and he knew that Derek was with me because, you know, I told him Derek came with me to blah, 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 blah. I told him that me and Derek didn't do anything, blah, 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 blah. He believes me. Well, a couple days went by, and me and Derek just kept texting, getting to know each other, and we just kind of, like, caught feelings from that night, like, just talking to each other and getting to know each other. So we kept talking, and, like, we were just texting. We didn't do anything. But pretty much I told Nick that I wanted to get a hotel room for the weekend for me and my friends, okay? And me and my friends got a hotel room, and Nick stayed home with Brazen. And Derek came to the hotel room and stayed the night with me. Well, I think we had sex or something. I don't really remember. I think we had sex. Anyways, so we spent the night, and I booked the hotel room for 2 nights, so from Friday to Sunday. And we spent the night Friday. Saturday morning I woke up and I had a feeling that I needed to go check on Brazen. I don't know why, I don't know what happened. I just had this weird feeling that I needed to go check on him. So I went to the house to go check on Brazen, and Nick and his friends came over. His friends were not supposed to be there, but they came over anyways. They all were apparently drinking and getting high, and they passed out or whatever. Apparently they did Xanax, and they passed out, and Nick, I want to say, forgot about Brazen, but that's not the correct term. So he obviously took care of Brazen. He put Brazen to bed, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, the next morning, instead of Nick being awake early in the morning to take care of Brazen, he was still sleeping because he did drugs the night before. So he was out like a light, still asleep. So I came home, and Brazen's in his crib, soaking wet in pee because he peed through his diaper. He was crying. The AC in the house was turned super freaking low. Brazen was like, lips are purple, blah blah blah. So I freaked out. I took Brazen, and I took him back to the hotel with me, and we stayed another night with Brazen. So Derek took me and Brazen to the mall, and we went walk around, and we got like some food or something. Well, somebody that we knew saw us and told Nick that I was with Derek, and Nick was pissed off. So after the whole hotel experience was done and over with, I went back home, And pretty much Nick was like, oh, you cheated on me with Derek. And I technically didn't cheat because we weren't together, we were on a break. But I was with another dude, apparently. So me and Nick got into this huge argument, fight, blah, blah, blah. So he was like, whatever, I'm leaving with my friends. You got your weekend, I'm leaving. Keep in mind, it's Sunday. Nick has work Monday morning, okay? And we lived at his job. He does maintenance for apartments, so we lived at his job. So I was like, whatever, do what you gotta do, but just make sure you're at work in the morning. Well, he left that night, and Monday morning came around and he didn't go to work. So I'm freaking out, like, why are you being so irresponsible? Like, you fuck up and lose your job, like, we're losing our house too, like, we're gonna have nothing, like, blah, blah, blah. Well, he ends up not coming back at all Monday. Doesn't come home Monday. Doesn't talk to me. Nothing. Ignores me. So at this point in time, I don't have a car. I don't have any money. Nick has all the money. Nick has the car. Like, I have nothing. So I'm telling Nick, like, hey, I need some milk for Brazen. Like, you have the money, you have the car. I don't have no one to bring me milk. I need some milk. So I'm, like, texting him, trying to get in touch with him. He's not responding. He blocks my number. I'm calling his friends. They're not answering. I'm calling the girl he's with. She's not answering. So then finally she answers, and I'm like, can you put Nick on the phone? And I explained to him that I need milk or whatever. And he was like, well, I'll bring it whenever I can or whatever. So he ends up bringing it, like, late at night or something. And me and my friend Valerie were trying to set him up. So when he pulled up with the milk, we were trying to, like, run and jump in the car or whatever. Well, that didn't work. So he drops the milk off and he leaves again. So the next day, Tuesday, he ends up coming back to go to work. And that morning, I stayed up all night. Like, I had anxiety. I was freaking out. I was literally up all freaking night till like 7 a.m. I did not go to sleep. 1 second. So Tuesday comes around and Nick comes back home to go to work. Well, the girl that he was with is dropping him off. Okay, so my crazy self, well, okay, so originally the girl that he was with texted me that night and she was like talking shit to me, like saying like, oh, you're a piece of shit, you're worthless for going and being with another guy, blah, 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 blah. She was like, I'm pretty much telling me she's gonna be my ass, blah, blah, blah. So I burped. The next day, on Tuesday, when she comes to drop Nick off, I don't remember what happened, but for some reason she was dropping him off in her car. So she pulls up and I'm outside. Well, Nick gets out the car and she's sitting in the car. So I come up to her door and I open up her door. It was unlocked. So I open it up and I drag her out the car. And I was like, all that shit you were talking, like, here I am. Here I am, bitch. Come fight me. Come on. Like, you're talking all this shit saying you're going to beat my ass and shit. Here I am. Come do it. She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't get out the car. So I drag her out. And I start fighting her. And Nick's behind me, like, talking shit, blah, blah, blah. So I fight him. I put some hands on him, too. And somebody calls the cops. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was the girl. I don't know if it was somebody at the apartment. I don't know. Anyways, the cops pull up. And I end up going to jail. Well, actually, I didn't go to jail. I got charged with domestic abuse and simple battery. But I didn't go to jail. They took me to the hospital so that I can get checked because I was hurt. Well, when I got to the hospital, I left. I walked out of the hospital. I walked on the road. Left. Well, a couple days later, I had warrants for those charges. So, I had to sell some stuff to get the bond money to buy myself out of jail. So, I had to sell, like, the PlayStation and blah, 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 because we didn't have any more money left over. Like, we blew all of the money. So I sold some stuff, got my bond money. I went and turned myself in and bonded out. Well, when I got out of jail, I went to our apartment. I got all of me and Brazen's things. We moved in with my mom. And yeah, that's what happened. We moved in with my mom. I think Nick moved in with the girl he was talking to or whatever. Well, yeah, so I get our stuff, move back in with my mom. Me and Derek are still talking, still seeing each other, and for the longest time, he would come over to my mom's, I would go to his dad's, we would spend the night together, we would do stuff with Brazen. Like, it was good. It was a good situation. I was catching feelings for him, he was catching feelings for me. But at the time, I like had just broke up with Nick. Like, me and Nick were together for 3 years. We had a baby together. Like, I was like still lost and broken and confused and didn't really know what I wanted, because originally me and Nick were just taking a break from each other. Like, we weren't done forever. Like, I wasn't trying to get into another relationship with someone else. You know what I mean? Like, Nick was still mine. I still had intentions to be with him. But yeah, so me and Derek end up getting into a relationship, making things start getting serious or whatever. So we get into a relationship, and I ended up cheating on him a few times with Nick, because I still miss Nick. I still had feelings for him. I still loved him. I still wanted to be with him, blah, blah, blah. Well, Derek stayed with me because, you know, like, he understood that I was just coming out of a 3-year relationship, and like, he just understood everything that I was going through. So pretty much me and Derek end up getting into a relationship and making things serious, and our relationship just really starts going in a positive direction. And Nick is just like partying and doing drugs pretty badly, like pretty heavily. He's doing drugs, he's drinking, he's partying, he ends up getting addicted to drugs. So at this point in my mind, I'm like, me and Nick are done. He's addicted to drugs. Like, he's really bad off. I don't want nothing to do with that. So I ended up moving in with Derek, and we stayed with his mom for a while, and then we got our own house. So me, him, and Brazen ended up getting a house together. Well, me and Derek were together for almost a year, and the whole entire time, like, I just wasn't happy. I kept missing Nick. I couldn't stop thinking about him. Blah, blah, blah. I just really wanted to be with him. And for the longest time, like, I just kept feeling these emotions. Like, I would tell Derek about how I felt. I would tell my friends about how I felt, and they just kept telling me to just, like, keep pushing through it, that I would get over him and I would move on and I'd forget about him and stuff. But like, I just couldn't the whole time. I kept thinking about Nick. Like, I just couldn't stop thinking about him for some reason. And Nick ended up going to rehab 2 times, and it didn't work. Well, I just wasn't happy with Derek, and I ended up moving out of his house and breaking up with him, and I got my own house. And pretty much I have been living by myself for the past like 4 months. I've been living by myself, and pretty much I've been being single, but like fucking around with Derek also while seeing Nick, I guess. So this is like a pretty confusing time for me, because I loved Nick and wanted to be with Nick, but Nick was addicted to drugs and needed help, and I couldn't be with him because of that. And I don't know, it was just really confusing for me. So honestly, I started going out quite a bit. Every weekend I was going out, and throughout the week I was working Monday through Friday. Weekends I was partying. And I was fighting for custody of my kid at the same time, but I wasn't in a relationship. I was just kind of like fucking around or whatever. I don't know. Well, anyways, recently, like a month ago, if a month ago, like a couple weeks ago, Nick went to treatment again. He didn't stay very long, but he ended up getting out, and we talked about everything we wanted in life and stuff like that. So pretty much for the past few weeks now, we've been working on things. We've just been communicating a lot more and spending time together. He's been staying with me, and we've been getting along really, really, really good. Like, surprisingly good. I did not expect us to get along that good at all, but we have been. And he's had a few interviews for jobs, and pretty much like he's just been going down a really good path. Like, he's been helping me really, really good with Brazen. I don't know, everything's just been going great. Like, it's just back to normal. But I don't know, like, I hope he stays clean and sober and on the right path, because he has been. Now I'm just hoping that he stays that way, because I can't predict the future, so I don't know what's gonna happen or if he's gonna stay the way he is or not. So I'm just like praying, keeping my fingers crossed, just seeing where it goes, I guess. Because I've learned throughout all of this that obviously I really fucking love the dude. If it's been an entire year since we've broken up, and probably more than a year. I think it's been more than a year. And I just can't forget about him. I can't stop missing him. I can't stop thinking about him. I can't stop wanting to be with him. Like, obviously he's who I need to be with if I'm continuing to have all these strong ass emotions for him. And like, I've been on a few dates. I've tried talking to a few other people. Plus, I was in the relationship with Derek, and it just like none of it felt right to me. I didn't feel close to those people, or like that was where I was meant to be, I guess. I don't know. So I've been super happy with Nick the way things have been recently. Like, I just feel like it's back to normal. Our relationship's back to normal. Like, our life's back to normal. I don't know. So yeah, that's where our relationship stands right now. So we're just seeing what's gonna happen. We're not officially together, but we're working on being together. So yeah. So I hope y'all enjoy this video of getting into my business and learning what happened. Oh my God. I hit myself in the eye. So yeah, that is pretty much what happened in my relationship. Okay, but yeah. Hope y'all enjoy. Bye!